Yeah. Now, I just wanted to make sure because this says Jefferson County, state of Washington is the plaintiff. But it ended up being Swim, Washington. Now, there seems to be a grave abuse of power and process. You seem to think that homeless people don't have any rights. You can discriminate against the disabled. And then there's the mental health evaluation. You know, I found it so good that Jack had spent some time with the evaluator from Western State Hospital without me being in there. And then he motioned the court to have this count number 2 removed. Yes. But here's the problem. Yeah. He has misconstrued the intent of the laws in order to bolster his own perceptions, but they simply do not fit. Now, this Matthew Shepard, where they retaliate against somebody, eventually they killed him. It had nothing to do with his sexual orientation, it had everything to do with law enforcement or those members of the community that just got tired of hearing. And this concept of the lack of his wife's signature on the protection order, it's an absolute necessity that the petitioner appear in court to issue any court order. There is no exceptions to the rule. So just so you know, Jack, I appreciate that you motioned the court to dismiss the case, but the truth of the matter is you intentionally twisted it according to your own perceptions of what you think the law says. The law says you have to appear in court. That's what it says, Jack. Now, the lack of his wife's signature. The actual King County literature says that if you do not appear in court, it will be dismissed and you won't have the protections of the order. That goes for the temporary protection order hearings, and that goes for the permanent protection order hearing. And without the signature of my spouse on the protection order, it is 100% against the law to issue it. So, Jack, you need to adjust your perceptions. Now, this concept of his insistence that the violation of the Women's Act has been violated are not germane to his case. Now, the case where it's a 2-count criminal complaint of cyber-stalking a woman that did not appear in court to have the court issue the protection order, that did not give me any due process when the actual prosecutor's guide to the Violence Against Women's Act says that you have to protect the due process rights of the respondent. And when your own evidence says that I did not receive any due process, it is germane to the case, Jack. You yourself presented the evidence that when you do not give the respondent actual notice of the hearing, it was not issued in accordance with the full faith and credit provisions of the VAWA. Now, we found out about the Parental Kidnapping Protection Act, Jack. It is germane to the case that if you do not issue court orders according to the requirements of the Violence Against Women's Act, that you requires the signature of the petitioner to have personal and subject matter jurisdiction over the 5 minors named. Yes. And if you do not protect the due process rights of the respondent because of having proof of service prior to having court hearings, it violates the PKPA. So, Jack, when you fucking lied, your perceptions are wrong because I know what the fucking law says.